So 2 Christmases ago, when I did the 12 Days of Christmas back in 2020, I reviewed the 3 Santa Claus movies in one video. Go check that out if you're interested. But in case you hadn't noticed, there's a brand new sequel series to it called The Santa Clauses. I did watch and react to the trailer, so the link for that will also be down below. So this series, I'm just going to give you the premise. So Scott Calvin, Santa Claus, he's looking at retiring. Basically, he's becoming discouraged and all that. So he needs to find a replacement. Well, it turns out the replacement is not the best choice. And we find out that's because he wasn't intended to retire at that point yet. And with that, we also got the return of Bernard. And pretty impressive too, because he's not a child anymore. Because the elves are generally played by, in the production, are generally played by child actors. So it makes sense as the actor's age, they can no longer portray their character. But they were able to bring him back, basically saying like, the elves apparently get on occasion a chance to go visit the real world, and to so choose, they can essentially become mortal and live out the rest of their lives in the real world. They made not just similar to a thing that the Amish have, minus the losing immortality thing, but it was a good way of bringing him back, while also explaining that the actor is no longer a child. So, pretty good way of addressing that scenario, if you will. A few other things just to note: the messaging of the series is actually quite good. It's pretty well known that the actor Tim Allen, who's portraying Scott Calvin, Santa Claus in the series and also in the original movies, is a conservative. He's one of the few actors who are actually open about it, and he often portrays characters who follow that line, follow that line. So you would expect probably a very conservative message. And it really is, but at the same time, it's a healthy message. It's, sure, it's still framed in the sense of a traditional nuclear family, but you can definitely tell that it's not what you would totally expect. And in my opinion, it is quite a healthy one. Basically, the best Christmases are the ones you spend with your family, and that's where the magic of Christmas is. So family and friends, because let's be real, if you even in the original films too, there's multiple lines where the elves are described as family, even though they're not biological family. They're still part of the friends and family label, if you will. And I really did like that. And so at the end of the end series, this is spoilers, but Scott Calvin decides not to retire as Santa Claus, and instead of him retiring and all that, well, what they do, he brings his family along to deliver the Christmas presents with him. It's about the giving, not the gifts itself. And I really do like that, because all the way back in the original film, Scott Calvin's Santa Claus, you can definitely tell his struggle was oftentimes related to spending Christmas with his family, getting too caught up in work, not being there. So this is a character arc that I don't think they firmly had planned, because they did have a plan, but they kept on finding ways for him to backside ever so slightly in each film and series to date. But I do like how they made that a consistent character flaw that he has to work to overcome. And this time, his way of overcoming it is not by, reconnecting with his son, or by finding a wife, or even by realizing his family is important to him, but by realizing he should be bringing his family with him to deliver presents. In fact, I want to see more Christmas stories where Mrs. Claus helps Santa deliver the gifts. I think that would be great to see, and I do hope we see that more in the future in any property, any franchise, if you will, any production. And another thing too, I should really talk about the character they have essentially to be the Santa replacement, who ends up not being a replacement at all because Scott decides not to retire. Whose initials also happen to be SC. That's a very common trope in this franchise, I've noticed. So he ends up not. But one thing I do like is his family situation is not a traditional one. He's a single father, much like Scott was in the first film, but not in the same way, because the mother, it's not a divorce, it's some tragic accident happened. She's no longer with the family. But still, that's showing a non-traditional family, which I do appreciate seeing, and showing that families come in all shapes and varieties. And through him is how they really do reinforce the best Christmas is the one spent with friends and family. Because to realize what his daughter did to show him that how he was behaving was destroying the magic of Christmas was by finding a snow globe that showed the memory of their happiest Christmas, which happened to be one they were just spending together, which I really do appreciate that messaging. So while the series was not perfect by any means, you can definitely tell that the franchise is starting to get milked by Disney. One thing I really did appreciate is that they made reference to the other Christmas, I want to say, figures. Yeah. So while this series was not perfect by any stretch, you can definitely tell that the franchise is kind of being milked at this point. One thing I really appreciate is the bringing in and referencing of other Christmas figures besides Santa Claus. One in particular, probably the most notable one, is Befana, also known as a Christmas witch. So this comes from Italian culture. She does. She actually appears in multiple episodes. They've never made mention to her before, but I do like this bringing in that there's other, gift givers who live at the North Pole in a sense. That's essentially what they're saying. Granted, she doesn't do too much. In fact, I would like to see a spin-off with her. Something kind of different, if you will. I'm exploring these more non-Santa secular Christmas figures, if you will. Though actually, the secular is kind of hard to say because they do make direct reference to Saint Nick and Saint Nicholas and how Santa's cloak is made from his cloak and all that. They also mention Krampus and a few other Christmas figures from other cultures. I really do like how they mentioned it. I just wish they did more exploring of this. It was limited to one episode, which is the episode that Bernard appeared back in, and I have to say, it's probably the best episode. But I do like that they had Befana as a character who was there, who kind of gave some advice, but also I wanted them to do more with her because she's a unique character. A character that, not everyone here in America is familiar with, and I really wish they explored her more. But hey, it's a first step. And if they do really want to milk this franchise, exploring these other figures might be a good way of going about it. The diversity of Christmas and the ways people celebrate Christmas. That's what I would love to see more out of this franchise, and so hopefully we'll get that someday. But in the meantime, thank you for watching. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. So this is where I'm going to end my review. I hope you enjoyed it. So let me know what you thought of the Santa Clauses in the comment section down below. Be sure to like, upvote, and share if you haven't done so already. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you want to stay up to date on all that I do. And of course, feel free to check out any of the links in the description. And as always, have a good day, good night, wherever you are. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas!